Hello, beautiful lights. It is Fran with Into the Marvelous Light. Hello, how are you all doing? I'm doing just great today. I hope you had a wonderful day. If you are new to my channel, I'd like to take this time to say hello to you. Welcome over. Thank you so much for hitting that subscribe button. If you have not hit that button yet, please go ahead and do so. I would love to have you over as part of our empathic family. Let's continue to grow and learn together how to come out of narcissistic abuse and move closer to the Lord Jesus Christ. Does the narcissist have feelings? The tears of a clown when no one's around. Being with a narcissist is definitely like being a part of a circus. The narcissist loves complete chaos and mayhem. They love to have several different tops spinning all around at several different times, in several different directions, in several different ways. They like lots of high-flying acrobatics. They like a bunch of noise. They like cracking peanut shells. They like popcorn and spectacles. Narcissists like to juggle, and they also like to ride on the unicycle. Narcissists will walk around on stilts like they are just high and mighty and so exalted over you. They like to say, "Step right up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen," because their specialty is putting on a show. Narcissists very much need an audience, and when they don't have an audience around, they can actually get pretty sad and depressed, believe it or not. This phenomenon is so true to life that there was actually a song written about it. Smokey Robinson said it best. "Now, if there's a smile on my face, it's only there trying to fool the public. But when it comes down to fooling you, now, honey, that's quite a different subject. But don't let my glad expression give you the wrong impression. Really, I'm sad. Sad, 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 sad. And oh, I'm sadder than sad. I'm hurt so bad. You're gone and I'm hurting so bad. I pretend to be glad. Like a clown, I pretend to be glad. Sad, sad, sad." Now, there are some sad things known to man, but ain't too much sadder than the tears of a clown when no one's around. Now, if I appear to be carefree, oh, I need you so. I'm hurt and I want you to know. But for others, I put on a show. Oh, yeah. Smiling in the public eye, but in my lonely room, I cry the tears of a clown when there's no one around. I think that very accurately describes how a narcissist is when they have their bouts of sadness, depression, and loneliness. Lots of people feel like narcissists don't have feelings or emotions, but I've noticed that over my 14-year marriage to a covert narcissist, his main emotion was that of anger. Sometimes after the anger subsides, the narcissist can get sad and depressed. Now, they're not feeling sadness and depression over you because they have no empathy. So they feel this sadness and this depression because they're not getting what they want. The fantasy in their head did not quite become reality for them. There were specific times that I noticed the narcissist be sad and depressed and have tears of a clown. When a narcissist would lose money, and he would lose large amounts of money at the casino, he would definitely get sad and depressed after that. He would have a large sum of money in his hands after he gambled. He would have hundreds of dollars in his hand, and he would play it all back and lose it all. The narcissist was a huge gambler and a huge risk taker. He didn't play small when he was at the casino. His favorite game to play was Russian roulette. Imagine that. And just taking all sorts of risk with money that was basically already spent. Taking rent money, taking money that was meant for bills, taking his entire paycheck and gambling it away. They go to the casino with these thoughts and dreams of grandeur, and then it doesn't work out for them. They always think that they are lucky. They always think that they will win and they will hit big. And the few times that they do, they take that to mean that they are invincible, that they will always win, and that they will never lose. And it is a vicious cycle of up and down, roller coaster type behavior, highs and lows. They are so high and mighty when they get that money in their hands that they think that they are invincible and they can't lose. And that's exactly what ends up happening. Their pride and their ego get in the way, and they end up losing every single little bit of what's in their hand. The narcissist would frequently lose his wallet a lot of times, and if it wasn't his wallet, he would lose money, like paper money that he was stuffed down in his pockets. He would lose that quite a bit. He was actually quite careless when it came to paper money. It would just kind of fly out of his pockets. If he would enter and exit his vehicle, he would lose money that way. Sometimes he had a big hole in his back pocket from jugging his wallet in and out of that pocket. Jugging is a word that we say in the South. Pushing that wallet down in his pocket so much that it just kind of rubbed a hole, and then his whole entire wallet would fall through that hole. Sometimes paper money would fall through that hole. Narcissist minds can race a mile a minute, and so they're not always thinking clearly, and so those are the kind of careless kind of acts and mistakes they will make regarding money. A lot of them feel like their money is their power. They feel like their money is who they actually are. Their money makes them. And so when they lose that money, they basically lose themselves. Another instance where I noticed that the narcissist got sad and depressed was towards the end of our marriage, and it was time for me to basically go through with the divorce. And when he got served the papers, I didn't really want to be around him because I didn't want the increase in violence, the increase with his, physical attacks, the increase with his verbal insults, and etc. So I worked with a domestic violence attorney to have them help me with a restraining order until we were able to get to court. And that restraining order was good for about a month and a half. And we had to, transfer the child back and forth, our child back and forth, so that, he could still see the child restraining order was, between he and I, not necessarily the child. So he was allowed to see the child during that time. And during transfer, it was really the saddest face I've ever seen on a narcissist. I definitely don't think he was acting. He definitely seemed really down in the dumps and pretty depressed. And it wasn't really, over me, the fact that, he couldn't see me or we couldn't, quote unquote, be a family. It was more so to do with his image. He had fallen from grace, so to speak. He was staying with a family member during the time that restraining order was in place. And so basically, people knew his secret because there's no reason for a wife, a soon-to-be ex-wife, to get a restraining order against someone who is nonviolent. So pretty much his secret was out, and that is what he had a real depressive episode about, was the fact that he could no longer hold up his fake image and that everything was out in the open and that everybody could see what was going on. Another instance where I saw the narcissist get sad and depressed was me leaving for prolonged periods of time. So there were times in the marriage where I had to do maybe a 2-week, 3-week, month-long separation from him due to, severe attacks, severe punching, injuries, concussions, things like that. I didn't really want to be around him after that. It was basically for fear. I was fearful. And so sometimes I would venture to go to stay with a church member to let him cool off. One time, I went to a women's shelter after an attack to allow him to cool off and to think about what he had done and hopefully change his behavior. And sometimes during that time, I would notice that he would be sad or in deep thought or something like that. But again, it wasn't for me. It was entirely about him. It was basically that shame emotion coming in for him. And anytime he felt shame, he would go into that sad and depressive state. The last way that I noticed that the narcissist would get sad or depressed, have tears, not literal tears, but just a general blanket of sadness and depression, maybe even despair, was in the marital bed. A lot of times the narcissist would stare at me, especially when I got emotional. It was almost like he couldn't feel anything. It was like he may have really wanted to, but he couldn't. And it was like he was sad because he couldn't feel. It was almost like a longing, like he wished that he could get emotional too. He wished that he could cry. He wished that he could express himself, but he couldn't. It was a very sad thing to witness, even for me. And it was something that I just couldn't understand, like why he couldn't allow himself to feel anything. I wasn't the person in our marriage to think that what happened in a marital bed was just an act. It's just a physical thing. I don't think that emotions can be separated from that. I think it's all spiritual. And so I can't imagine just no emotion at all. There was nothing I could do to show him how to feel or show him how to get in touch with his emotions. Everything that I tried didn't work. Everything for the narcissist is performance-based. The narcissist is pretty much an actor putting on an act, putting on a show, and putting on a performance. And this is not my opinion. This is something that the narcissist actually admitted to me after our divorce. He told me he presented a character to me in hopes that I would fall in love with that character. And I did. 1 John 4:18 says, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear involves torment." And I would venture to say something traumatic happened to the narcissist, possibly in their childhood, and it caused them to fear love, to fear giving love, and to fear receiving love. And so they don't have love, and they are tormented due to that. Narcissists struggle with many different demons and demonic spirits, and they are tormented by those spirits. If the narcissist wasn't so high and mighty, and if they weren't so closed off, they can open themselves up to the Lord Jesus Christ, and they can find the answer to their sadness and their depression. If the narcissist knew the Lord Jesus Christ, or would take the time to know the Lord Jesus Christ and allow him to come into his heart, then he would be familiar with how the Lord will heal sadness. Psalms 34:18. "The Lord is near the brokenhearted and save those crushed in spirit." Psalms 147:3. "He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds." Matthew 5:4. "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." Although the narcissists hurt us very badly, although they caused us quite a bit of pain, although it will take us years and years sometimes to get over and get past that hurt, harm, and pain, and sometimes it has very lasting effects, I still believe as children of God, we should pray for those who spitefully use us. We should pray for our enemies. We have to forgive those who hurt us. You will forgive them, but you will not forget. You can no longer love them up close where they can hurt you. You have to love them from a distance. Depression and sadness is a dark cloud, no matter who's going through it. You can't allow the dark cloud of a narcissist and even their sadness and depression, to cast a shadow on your light. You must continue to shine boldly, continue to shine bright. Let your light shine above the narcissist's darkness. When you walk away from the circus, make sure you walk back into the marvelous light.